came out with a new compilation. It's been a while. People heard you on YouTube. So what is it about this time?
This is my new compilation. Me and my wife, again, Keb Darge, legendary Wild Rockers. It's probably my favourite compilation I've ever done. You know, it's the tracks we're playing at the club nights we do together in London and around Britain and all that. And it's the big tunes from those nights. And yeah, they are probably my favourite tunes of all time. There'd be a few northern tracks in there if I was to do a 50-track compilation. It would be these plus some northern tracks, and that would be it. You know, I have to be honest, there wouldn't be any funk in there if it was my all-time favourites. It's also to introduce people to the fact that the 50s music can go quite deep and be very dirty and raw, as opposed to the sweet twiddly-twiddly-dee type stuff that they may think it is. You know, because some people come to the clubs with an image of it's all Jackie Wilson and it's all hoochie coochie coo and chon 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 and all that, and I'm like, nah, there is harder stuff there, and that's pretty well full of the harder stuff.
So this is an evaluation from the one you did with Paul Weller and the one you did before this, because the one with Paul Weller has some of the jump blues things.
Paul Weller wanted it all to be black music. He can't get past, even though he's a white fucking musician, he can't get past the stage of I only listen to black music type thing. So he wanted it all to be okay. If I'm just going to put on, you know, soul mostly and a little bit of R&B, I thought, okay, then I'll just put on soul and R&B as well, so it doesn't clash with your side. So that was a personal thing with me and Paul, where it was like, all right, then I'll make ours match nicely. The one I did with Cut Chemist, which was before Paul Weller, was mainly white rockers and a few black R&B things in there. So that was closer to my taste, was the Cut Chemist one. You know, the Paul Weller one was nice. I'm no, you know, but for me, this is my favourite, and the Cut Chemist one will be my second favourite.
What a lot of people don't know is that you listen to rockabilly for years. Some people think, okay, you've been to the northern scene and the funk scene, and then the rockabilly scene, and that this would be new to you, but it isn't.
No, I was actually starting to fitter about and collecting rockabilly before I played the first funk record I played, or second time round. I was playing funk in the mid-70s when it was coming out and all that, 75 and all that. I was playing funk with my northern, but then got purely northern. And then just before I got divorced and got back into, or got into playing funk only, I was buying rare rockabilly records and playing them in the house. And I actually did, I remembered late after we talked earlier, I remembered that I did a night with Jay Strongman in London about 18 years ago, where it was rockabilly, northern, blues, and a hint of funk. And it failed miserably because the doorman at the club wouldn't let in anyone who was dressed strangely. So all the rockabilly fans were turned away, and all the Northern Soul fans were turned away, and we filled up with sort of touristy type women with blonde hair and men in suits. I was like, oh God, no. And we did it for 2 weeks and then thought, this is ridiculous, you know. And it was like suits were getting in, but folk dressed with jeans, no. So that failed miserably, and I just gave up then and focused on the funk. And for a couple of years I was buying the rare rockabilly and keeping it at home. And quite honestly, you know, sitting with a £1,000 rockabilly record, putting it on a cassette along with a load of others, and then just listening to them at bath time or listening to them when I was relaxing, and never taking them out to play. And then there came a stage where I thought, fucking hell, I've got like thousands of pounds worth of rockabilly records here, which are just for me, and I can't afford that. I need the money to get these rare funk records, so I sold them a rare rockabilly. It was about 1990 or 91 or something like that. Sold all the rockabilly and got money together to chase the funk. But I still had all the cassettes, and I bought a load of rockabilly compilations, and I had like boxes of rockabilly repros, so I've kept them all the way through. And yeah, in the house, you've been to my house a few times, you know, when I'm on to relax or listen to music, I'll put on rockabilly. And it has been like that for over 20 years now. So there. But the funk, I liked the funk. Not as much as I liked the rockabilly in the northern, but it was the one music that I liked that I found, hey, I can get people into clubs with this music. You know, northern, you couldn't get people into clubs, you had to play to the northern scene. And they're too anal, really, you know. The rockabilly, you had to play at the rockabilly scene. And they're not as anal as the northern crowd, but they only pay you £20 a night, you know. But the funk, you know, I was going to Japan and getting £700 a night playing funk, so hey, I'll play funk. And I was good at finding records, so I could do the funk thing very well. So I did it. But yeah, I always wanted to play rockabilly. And deep funk, I'd always try and sneak in a couple of R&B tunes at the end of the night, or a couple of northern tunes at the end of the night. But it wasn't working until Amy Winehouse came along and the Johnny Cash film came along and things like that. And then people started to get interested, and I said, right, I'll take some more out and start playing them, and now I can go and buy some. And it's gone boom in Britain now. It's, you know, it's the big new scene, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, we can see a lot of new repros coming, and
Yeah.
we talked about how Jasmine Gerald is having this sub-label, the Jukebox Jam series, where he's putting out stuff like that. So it seems like it's a new trend.
Yes, that's a word I don't like. Yes, it is a new trend. But, you know, you can say that music goes in circles. But I think that's going to happen to a point where shit music will disappear from the circle, and it will come to a stage where people are set, okay, we've got these sets of good music, you know, be it reggae, which I don't like, or jazz, which I don't like, or northern, which I like, or rockabilly and jump blues, which I like. Those will be the musics and sort of indie music, and, you know, there won't be, I don't believe in the next 10 years there'll be a new form of music like the dubstep things, the last dying throes of fucking idiots pretending they're making music, you know. So people will get, and are getting into real music now. And everyone I know that actually has got into northern or rockabilly or indeed funk, it's very hard to get them out of it. It's very hard to come along and say, but this is the new music. You know, and most people who've been into good music scenes, when they hear the new music, the Emperor's latest clothes, go, but it's shit. But it's brand new and it's cool and it's the newest thing, but it's shit. And I think that because the amount of people now that are getting into the 50s thing, and mostly girls that are really enjoying it, it's going to be very hard to take them and put them into a club playing shit music and them to get that same feeling of enjoyment, you know. Whereas for years, like we went to the club last night that we're DJing at tomorrow. Me and Gu are DJing at a club tomorrow doing this jukebox giant night. And we went there and the music was utter shit. And I looked in the faces of all the kids that were there and the music meant nothing to them. They were there just, some of them were pretending to enjoy it because they thought it'd be cool, but they were pretending to. And others were just there enjoying the fact that they were surrounded by a load of other young people, but the music was completely secondary to their pleasure, you know. Now, when you can hit those kind of people with really good music and they absorb good music, then they fully enjoy the night because they're enjoying the jumping around with loads of people, they're looking at girls' bottoms, and they're enjoying the tunes and thinking, wow, we've got this extra thing added to our night out, which is good music. And it's hard to get people out of that. So I don't think there'll be any more circles. I think circles were going on because the attitude of we must have new music. It must be new. It's not trendy unless it's brand new. It's not good unless it's new. It's like, how the fuck does that work? You know, I never understood that one. But that'll disappear. And my 15-year-old daughter and her friends are of the attitude, oh, is it new? It'll be shit then. We like old stuff. Old stuff's good. There is an attitude coming into teenagers in Britain that the old music is good and new music is shit, which is great to see. Which was around when I was a boy. You know, when I got into Northern, there was a lot of my age. I was a teenager then, thinking, new music's all shit. Fucking ABBA, Boney M, it's all piss. Let's listen to the old 60s stuff. It's much better. And that's coming back en masse.